This week we're talking about onions and spring onions from seed.
Great.
So what we've been doing in the last month or so is sowing onions that can overwinter and will give you crops in spring and early summer next year. With spring onions, we've got some spring onions here. This is white Lisbon, this variety. It's super, super hardy, and we'll be giving to you as clumps of seedlings. These clumps are a bit skimpy. The later batches are much thicker than this. With these, you plant these maybe about 8 inches apart as soon as you've got space outside, and they should overwinter fine and give you onions in the new year.
Okay.
When the clumps are quite thick, what you can do is start harvesting them before they're all ready. That will give the onions you leave behind, spring onions you leave behind, a chance to get bigger. So you can harvest them over quite a long period. Now, the thing about these spring onions is they have one advantage over the onions we've been giving out so far, and that is they don't flower in the spring, which is what the Japanese bunching onions we've been giving out do. So we're doing these now. The only thing you've got to remember is these basically just harvest once. You take them out and then you're done. If you leave them, what they'll do is turn into a mini onion, and then they'll go dormant for a bit.
Okay.
So with these, plant them as a clump, harvest them bit by bit, leaving a few to get big.
Yeah.
And then once the bulbs start to swell at the bottom, that's probably when you finish them off. And then you're done.
Yeah. So that's spring onions.
That's spring onions.
Now let's have a look at your onions.
Right, now these are proper onions. So people often do onions at this time of year from sets, and we'll talk about that in a few weeks' time, or they do them from seed in the spring or from sets in the spring. Something else you can do, particularly in London where it's really, really mild in the winter, is sow your onion seeds in late summer or early autumn, and then you end up with these little transplants which will grow just as well, if not better, than a set.
All right.
So we've got lots and lots of these to give out. In fact,
and we're giving them out next Tuesday, the 6th, from the 6th onwards?
We'll be giving them out from Tuesday the 6th onwards, from 2 to 4, and then again 5 to 6 on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we've got several different varieties. So this variety I'm really excited about. It tastes amazing. It's got loads of flavour.
Yeah.
And it's a traditional variety from the south of France, which, where it comes from, was actually grown sort of as a giant spring onion, as a kind of a green onion, so harvested before it was fully ripe. But if you let it mature, it will turn into a great big onion like this.
Wow.
And so long it's a storage onion, it's got a lot of flavour. Lots of these.
As in storage, you can, if you pick these in July,
they will
store
last for
them all
months.
winter.
Yeah, we're working out how long you can store them. 1 or 2 of these have started to sprout.
Right.
So I think there may be a bit of a variation in this one. And then we've got this variety here, which we grew outside last year. This onion I think is Sturon. I just took it out of a great big box of drying onions.
Okay.
Again, these were sown sort of, I think last October, November, and we planted them out just as spring onions, just to make some onion shoots, and we left them and they just made onions. So we're doing those again this year.
Excellent.
Again, these are quite early. So these were making onions end of June, early July, which is really useful because it means you've now got your space for a second winter crop.
Okay.
You could get beetroot or purple sprouting broccoli or Swedes in after all of these crops and have a second set of crops.
So we're giving these out. These overwinter, and you crop them when?
So this one, June, July.
Okay.
You can crop it earlier if you want, but if you want a big onion, a ripe onion, it's to be June, beginning of July.
Brilliant.
About planting these, plant about 6 inches apart individually. I mean, you can plant them in clumps, but then you've got to plant them further apart. Yeah. One other thing I was going to say about planting these, we planted some absolutely shocking seedlings, which had spent 2 or 3 months getting starved and neglected in the greenhouse. They'd almost withered down to a little green point above the compost. Still make big onions.
Wow.
So really tough, really easy.
Okay, great. Thank you.